Starfield is a space exploration action role-playing game that's honestly kind of fun, with so much going on beyond its familiar surface that leads into interesting gameplay mechanics and concepts. Some I might not be a fan of, but are there nonetheless. Just gonna say from the beginning, I like this game, and I like it a lot more than I thought I would. I came into this game with zero expectations and didn't watch any trailers or videos on it since its initial announcement, choosing instead to go into it as blind as possible, as I also assumed I was never gonna have the chance to play it. And I feel like that blindness helped me to truly appreciate this game. The concept is fun, this game is beautiful, and the gameplay is engaging enough where I'm actively paying attention to the story, and though some worlds may feel empty, this game can also feel very lively. I'm going to not compare this game to other titles both developed and not developed by Bethesda, as I feel that's unfair to this game. I also have around 40 hours into this game, and I don't think I'm close to beating it in the slightest, but feel I played enough to be able to speak on it. With all that out of the way, this is my brutally honest review of Starfield. Since I'm going to be brutally honest, let me start off with arguably my biggest annoyance in this game. Some mechanics just don't work. I love stealth, and if you give me the option to crouch and pick off enemies from a distance, that's gonna be my go-to way to play. At the time of making this video, there's a really weird bug, glitch, feature thing that makes it so my stealth attacks don't always register, which would be fine if it wasn't a requirement in leveling up my stealth perk. I've shot countless enemies from a distance who had no idea where I was, no increase to the tracker, and looking it up, it seems like I'm not the only one who went through this. Matter of fact, this isn't even the only perk related leveling issue. Combine that with the fact where enemies just see me out of nowhere before I even see them, and it just gets annoying that I can't be as stealthy as I want to be. It isn't game breaking, and by no means this alone makes Starfield a shit game, but when I'm trying to build my character a specific way, not being able to level up my skills the way I like gets frustrating. And yes, I know, it's a Bethesda game. I knew what I was getting into, but I feel like that shouldn't be a good excuse in 2023. If I had to pick another thing that really bothered me about this game, it would definitely be its UI and menu navigation. Not necessarily its design, I think it looks good and it fits the theme, but how little the game eases you into it. Starfield is a massive game, and when you're looking for your next planet to start your next big adventure, you can easily get overwhelmed with the amount of menu navigation it takes to do almost anything. I'm not saying I have a clear and cut solution for this, and by playing the game a lot you do start to get a better handle on it, but it wasn't until 15 hours in where I realized I can fast travel immediately to my next mission objective through the mission select screen. I was so into this game, and I don't remember any tutorials or anything telling me about this. Considering how lengthy space travel can be with its constant loading screens, I'm really surprised there was no quick tutorial on this. If there was, and the game did tell me something about it, I somehow missed it, which means it probably happened so quickly that I just didn't even notice. And with how important and how game-changing it can be, it seems like a really big thing for the game to gloss over. But now, because I spoke about my two biggest dislikes right out of the gate, let me talk about the things I definitely enjoyed about Starfield. The thing that really stands out to me the most about this game is without a doubt its setting. Starfield is at its best beautiful, and the amount of times I can change locations within an hour of just playing the game normally is insane. In one moment, I'm on this semi-futuristic Old West style desert plains planet with the cowboys and bank robberies. The next, I'm in a neon-filled city on an oil rig in the middle of a stormy ocean, controlled by mob bosses, and drug trading is the name of the game. Then, I'm at a floating medical station in the middle of space. Next, I'm at a chain restaurant of all things. The variety of areas, biomes, whatever you want to call it, is crazy, and really helps to sell the whole traveling through different galaxies gameplay mechanic. Though you can argue that these locations sometimes feel more like levels than fully explorable free roaming environments, it doesn't make the planets and cities any less fun to explore. With a scanner that can mark locations and a distance, even if your objective is right in front of you on a lifeless planet, chances are there's still something out there for you to find and discover. And given the fact that this game has 1,000 planets, I couldn't even fathom how long it would take me to see everything this game has to offer. For the larger cities and areas, I love the fact that I could run by an area multiple times and I can randomly come across an event happening. There's times I'm randomly running through the busy streets of New Atlantis and I happen to see new military cadets in the middle of basic training. Or how when I'm visiting the city of Neon, I can find people randomly getting arrested. It really helps to sell this game's universe. It's impressive. And it's not like any of these positives I mentioned are the first time that this has been done in gaming, but it's just cool to see how well it was handled, and it's all great nonetheless because of it. And that level of enjoyment I got out of the locations is what I can say about the characters. It wasn't hard for me to find these characters interesting because they're actually interesting. Barrett, the first Constellation member you meet in the game who starts your journey, ends up being captured by space pirates. And after gunning down waves and waves of enemies across the galaxy, traveling planets and moons to find him, I find him just talking to one of their leaders, having a good time and chilling, discussing philosophy. Like, what the fuck? This game is goofy like that, and I appreciate that even in its most serious moments, it doesn't take itself seriously. The companion I've been rocking with most of the game, Sam Cole, is definitely not my first choice when it comes to exploring the infinite cosmos. But I've enjoyed his dialogue options so much and his story that I haven't felt the need to switch him out. And having him add his input in everything I did made me enjoy having him more and more as I played. At a time, I wanted to switch him out and just rock by myself and play the game stealthily. But like I said, having his input in everything I did and him randomly cutting into in-game dialogue, even if it was main story, just made that dialogue way more interesting. All this to say that this story and setting got me hooked. I heard a lot of people say that Starfield has an extremely slow start, and you don't really get a feel for it until you're 5 to 12 hours in. And I get it, I can definitely feel that, but for me, I was engaged from the very beginning. But if you're not engaged from the beginning, sticking past those initial hours feels worth it with how much you're able to do after the start and where the story starts heading. The main story, revolving around this intergalactic mystery, is interesting. What are we building? What do these pieces we're collecting do? Who is Constellation and its members? I want to know what's gonna happen next. Same for the side quest. When I was playing, I kept hearing my friends say I should focus on the main story, beat the game, and then do all the side quests in the New Game Plus. I guess that's something a lot of reviewers have been saying, but honestly, I've just been doing whatever missions I thought sounded interesting, and it's been fun just doing that. Is that what everyone should be doing? Maybe, I don't know. But this game really gives you a lot of freedom on how you want to tackle it, so who's to say what works best for you but you? I'm personally really enjoying just going wherever this game takes me, and I've been able to follow the narrative just fine. I've spoken a lot about things I enjoyed and didn't like about this game, but one thing I barely touched on was how it actually plays. And if I had to sum up hours and hours of gameplay into one word, then I can say Starfield is good. It's not great or anywhere near perfect, but it's fun, and at its best can be extremely chaotic in the best way. It controls better than most Bethesda games by a huge margin, and the ship controls are amazing. I'm not too crazy about realistic flight controls in my gaming, let alone dogfighting with enemy pilots, but even with me not being a fan of this gameplay style, it controls so well and is so engaging that I kinda don't mind it in the slightest. Having to constantly adjust where your ship's power is being focused, from your weapons to your thrusters to your shields, is just so interesting and is so anxiety inducing. I can't help but love it. And I feel the same way about the gunfights. They're fun too. And because I'm rocking my stealth build, I do enjoy the fact that I can just snipe enemies from a distance or take them out with a silenced pistol at close range. It controls great even though it may not always play great. Even the movement helps amplify how fun gunfights are. At times, it felt like I was just playing Apex with all the jumping around I was doing. My friend who's currently rocking a melee build seems to be enjoying his run of the game too and hasn't run into any hurdles, leading me to think that you can kind of play this game however you want. But the reason why I would say it's good and not great is because in true Bethesda fashion, there's certain things that stop from reaching its full potential. Again, I can't stress enough, this game controls better than almost every Bethesda game I can think of. But to expand on the stealth issues I mentioned earlier, add in wonky AI, enemies just having random performance issues, and the usual lack of quality of life fine-tuning breaks the great immersion that this game tries its best to establish. And hey, listen, I know some of y'all may play Bethesda games just to experience those glitches, so this game may be a dream come true. But if you're looking for something that's extremely well polished and screams immersion, Starfield ain't it. And though I like the ship battles, I hate how unnecessary traveling in space can be. Unless you get into a fight or are heading for a nearby space station, these open endless areas just kind of feel pointless. I'm not saying all this has to constantly be engaging, but when you're doing a lot of traveling from planet to planet, it gets extremely tedious just orbiting a planet for no reason, then having to go into your menu to fast travel somewhere else. I mean, sure, you can just fast travel and get to the planet straight away and skip this, but for a lot of story missions, you can't always do that. All in all, Starfield is a great game, and I'm so far enjoying every single second of it. There's so much in this game that even after having 40 hours in, I still haven't done a lot. I just discovered yesterday that shipbuilding is a thing. I had no idea you can build ships until my friends started DMing me pictures of other players' ships. Factor in crafting and building an entire outpost on almost any planet where you can assign followers to gather resources, and it's insane to think just how much this game offers and how much there still is to discover. I don't think this game is going to be for everyone, especially if even after its slow start it doesn't hold you. But it is a solid gaming experience and definitely checks off the boxes of what I would consider to be a good game. I'm gonna continue playing, and I don't think my stance is ever gonna change on that. And with modders coming out of nowhere to make the gameplay experience even more solid and fixing even some of the issues I mentioned, I'm excited to see what the future holds for Starfield. And as far as new IPs go, Bethesda did a good job. Enjoy the rest of your day, and take care.